Speaking of turning your head and coughing, there's a panel I have to remove. He's here, he got right to work, so I don't want to bug him, but he seems like he's pretty camera friendly.
I was hoping that you'd call me on the telephone. Stars are falling and I didn't want to sleep alone. This might be the last of the moonlight, and you're the only one that ever made me feel at home.
The power vested in me by the Federal Aviation Administration. Well, you've just joined a very special club undertaking.
Well, is it an airplane?
It is.
It's been a little over 1,000 days since I received the kit, and it is finally Airworthiness Inspection Day. Let's go!
These are the good times.
As you recall, 10 days ago I was supposed to get my airworthiness inspection, but we had this Arctic blast and it just shut down the roads, shut down everything. And my DAR, Gary, is on the west side of the Cascades, and he had a whole bunch of inspections down in California and Arizona, so congratulations to you guys who have the newest airplane in America until hopefully today. I have had a bonus week and a half to get the Bogey even more ready, I think. You never know what you don't know. However, I did have my buddy who was the lead engineer at Lancair for a number of years go through the airplane. It's no Lancair, but he has a lot of good knowledge, so thank you, Jake, for checking that out. So it's kind of a good sign when I'm stressing more about the shop than I am about the airplane. Doesn't mean that he's not going to find anything, but I'm feeling, as a first-time home builder, you know, I guess as confident as I can, given the fact that there was that delay and I've had a lot of people looking at the airplane, as well as you guys backing me up and giving me tips and things that I may have missed. So thanks again for that. Let's talk about what I've got set up for the airworthiness inspection.
Logbooks ready to go. I don't have any entries in them, so I'm just kind of making sure that I've got the best direction that I can. Don't screw those up. I've got my registration here. I've got for the feds, and then I've got the state Oregon Aviation registration here. A couple stickers I got to check right here. I've got the program letter, which vitally includes a verbiage about executing task-based phase 1 program as outlined in the new advisory circular 90-89 Charlie. So that is going to be super exciting to delve into that hopefully as early as tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And then we've got the eligibility statement, and then which has been notarized, saying that, yeah, I in fact built this. I built over 50% of it. Here's the application for the airworthiness certificate, and then I've got my weight and balance here, and I've got my beacon registration here, 406 megahertz beacon, and then of course my manuals or the instructions, which is also doubles as my log because I kind of check things off as I went, as well as this YouTube channel is also my log. And then finally my electric diagrams.
I developed this from scratch with a lot of help from my good friend Jessica, an avionics whiz, who's now on the West Coast. So we're gonna get together and you're gonna see her a lot more. And crucially, she is a fantastic aviation photographer. So we're gonna hopefully get her up in my buddy's Bonanza and get some airborne shots of the Bogey. The couple lessons learned on getting ready for airworthiness was the airworthiness portal takes a little bit of getting used to, and you know, you got to make sure and review the latest airworthiness directives for small aircraft. Have that in there, and then once you hit submit on your application, you can still upload documents, but you can't change documents. So I found an errant comma in my registration on the application for airworthiness that wasn't on my registration. So the owner is my LLC, and I had a comma on one and not the other, so I had to go get that re-notarized. But everything else was pretty straightforward, and Gary was very helpful, so thank you, Gary, for that. The other note is he mentioned that there are less folks able to do these initial airworthiness inspections. The MIDO owns initial airworthiness inspections now. The FSDO cannot. So you have to be a DAR deputized by the MIDO, not the FSDO. I hope I'm getting that right. The aircraft, of course, is all naked, waiting to turn her head and cough, so to say. Other than having all the inspection panels removed, she is ready to fly as far as I am concerned. I've done the best job I can. Cotter pins are in, safety wires set, batteries charged. Really spent a lot of time tidying up everything and making sure that the safety, I actually moved my autopilot servo. It's not connected, this one or the pitch one, the roll and pitch, because I'm not gonna fly with those connected for the first few flights, just as a safety mitigation effort. But the flight control, the wires, the push-pull tubes, I just made double, triple sure that nothing is impeding them or could impede them. So if you remember Kip, the owner, builder of the yellow Rans S21 at Independence, Oregon, we flew out there to go visit him, as well as I met up with him in Johnson Creek. He is neighbors with my DAR Gary, and they're good friends. So I'm assuming that Kip got him up to speed on what Gary needs to look for, and that's going to only benefit me, right? I really want a thorough inspection, so bring it on. Let's do this. He's taking a lot of notes that are mandatory as well as just recommendations.
I think about the way you held me when we first met, and how you told me that I'd
This is my DAR, Gary Brown. Thank you, sir, for coming and being so helpful through this whole entire process. It's a big learning thing for me as a first-time home builder. Okay. And mad respect for all your career, and your reputation precedes you. So there's a lot of folks who know you who say hi. So I wanted to pass my hello from all the folks at Bend Airport to Gary. So
well, you've just joined a very special club. There's 7 billion people on this planet. How many built an airplane? And there's some of us repeat offenders, so it's a very small club and undertaking.
Well, is it an airplane?
It is.
That's up to him.
I can go over a few of the little things that need to be attended to before we go.
I'll go over all his notes in just a second. I was super happy with everything with the exception of one kind of embarrassing note, so we'll see that in a second. I want to ask you, any special entries I need to make or before, because as of today, now everything I do needs to go into a logbook more or less.
Absolutely. So it's up to you if you want to keep the 3 logs like you would for the Bonanza, or just in 1 log. Being experimental, you can do it that way.
Okay. So just denote that the weight and balance was accomplished, not.
Yeah,
well,
you
actually,
can
put in the weight and the CG.
Just the operating empty weight.
Okay.
Sure, just the moment arm, the weight, and then the CG and the CG envelope.
Okay.
You can also enter all that onto your EFIS, having your weight and balance. That's perfectly acceptable. So I need to take a look at a builder's log.
Okay. YouTube channel, as well as I just went through every thing that I did. I put a date.
Notation there. That's fine. Perfectly acceptable. Every circuit, for the electronics that I know a year later says, well, how's that work?
Right.
Gosh, I don't know.
Well, that, and I found serial numbers are good. That way you can see if a AD or a service bulletin affects
equipment list,
rather than having to, take it out.
Forgot to ask, you have a backup battery inside for your electronic ignition?
I do.
Okay. Do you run with the backup battery on all the time?
Yes.
While you're, Okay. Oh, one thing I know I looked, but I forgot to notice green on the right and red on the left.
I know, I knew you were going to ask that. And now I'm like, I hope so. Let's turn it off. Come on.
I've seen red on the right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I want to tell you. I'd say the most common, there's probably about 4 of the most common things I see. One is jam nuts loose. The nav lights incorrectly. Motor mounts opposite. There's on a lot of your Lord mounts and your Barry mounts, there's a hard and a soft half to your motor mounts. And of course, because the engine's cantilevered, the dense part of the motor mount has to be aft on top and forward on the bottom. Yeah,
that would be a frustration.
So, yeah. Okay, sign your life away to the newest airplane in America. So, neither the FAA nor the DAR guarantees this airplane isn't going to aluminum plate a hillside. You're the one that guarantees it. So, you as the builder get to say that this is in a condition for safe operation this year. Next year, you'll have to have your repairman certificate. Or are you an A&P?
No.
Okay, so you got a yearly repairman. So what you're signing here is today's date, 0 on the airframe, we hope, and that you've inspected the aircraft in accordance with FAR 43 sub D, and it's in a condition for safe operation.
Absolutely. Woo. 0.0.
Alrighty. And by the power vested in me by the Federal Aviation Administration, I'll put my sticker in the book that says this aircraft meets the requirements for the certificate. So, you're good till February 1st of 25.
Okay.
So it needs another inspection.
Okay.
Now,
well, I bequeath on you a sticker.
Oh, fine, clear direct. So this is another document that keeps my wife happy, and it just says that you acknowledge that I've had no part in building the aircraft.
I got the sticker, sorry, sir.
I've never flown a fighter, but I was fairly new in the right seat of a DC-10. We picked up a 30 series, which was a big one out of Long Beach, and we're ferrying it into LAX to take a trip across the pond. And the captain says, you don't have a hair if you don't hold V2 plus 10. And it's like climb and maintain 4,000 and turn us on to fueler out there going into LA.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it's like flying a fighter with the afterburners on, but the altimeter looked like a fan. I pulled that nose up to V2 plus 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and the altimeter was going like this. I mean, that empty, what a ride.
Yeah, you know, I've heard it such that even with afterburners kicking, you can hear it going vertical, still accelerating.
It must be nice. 4 things must stay in the airplane at all times. The certificate of airworthiness, which that is. You don't get a nice pink card anymore. That is your certificate.
Okay.
And it's digitally signed. The operating limitations, weight and balance, which can be on your EFIS, and the registration. So the registration will be displayed on your aft bulkhead or somewhere there, plain sight. This can just be folded up and accessible to the pilot. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Gary. Much obliged.
See you later.
Sure appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Take care, guys.
Take care. Let's go fly. All right, let's go over the items that I've got to get fixed. So happy to say there's one thing that kind of is like, oof, that was bad, but everything else is pretty good. First thing he recommended is putting a hole down here, a drain hole. Put a little hole and then RTV silicone it so it doesn't spread. Next thing was the spark plug wires. A little bit too floppy, so I gotta secure those because anything that's gonna move is gonna wear, right? And then he didn't like this. He's like the back baffling will rub against the ignition wires, so I gotta figure out a solution there. And then he said there's an AD on the Cavlico oil pressure sensor right here. It might be newer, but if not, I gotta reach out and get that swapped out. The pitot tube wiring, there's a little bit of play up here, so I gotta secure that. That's super easy. Just bring it in on close. Yikes. That bolt, clearly not good. So great catch, Gary, on that. Embarrassing. I'm gonna check both of them. Check all the hinges while I'm at it. Got that all squared away. I remember why I didn't tighten that now. You need one of these. I didn't have it at the time. It's just a ratcheting wrench to get in there. And then I gotta lube the elevator push rod. It was just making a little bit of noise. Inside about here, there's this station, I think it's station 5. There's like a nylon area that kind of guides the elevator push pull tube through it. And it's just slightly rubbing. He's like, just put a little dab of grease on it and that'll just prevent it from wearing and be nice and quiet. 2 more things, the flap quadrant. There's like negative threads showing right there. So that's clearly not long enough. So I need to swap out that N3 bolt for a slightly longer dashed bolt. Obvious. And then he complimented me on my wiring in here. I didn't think this was great, but I'm happy to take that compliment. But he did want me to kind of secure this fact that that this can move. So I think an easy fix is secure it right here, potentially to the coaxial, and then the roll servo plate. So that was it. I'm pretty happy with those items. Obviously the rudder bolt is a little bit scary and embarrassing, but overall, really happy. Oh man, feels good. Lessons learned, just, I don't know. It was easier than I thought. That took about less than 2 hours, and we've got our airworthiness certificate. So I can fly legally. I gotta design my test program and take a look at the weather. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, but maybe tomorrow or the next day, first flight. Anyway, till next time, you're cleared direct. Careful, man, that's airworthy aircraft you're touching right there.
Yeah.